She is lying to you. Believe it or not, all women lie, even when they don't mean to. It's not her fault. It's simple biology. If you're waiting for a woman to look you in the eyes and say, "I want you," you will wait forever. Not because she doesn't feel it, but because desire was never designed to be spoken. Now, you are wondering what I am aiming at. Don't worry. Follow me till the end, and I will break this down for you so you don't miss the big signs a woman deeply wants you. You see, from childhood, women are trained to soften reality, to be agreeable, to protect harmony, to say no when they mean maybe and maybe when they mean yes. Language becomes a mask long before attraction ever forms. That's why men who rely on words get trapped. They listen to what she says. They ignore what her nervous system is screaming. And while they wait politely for clarity, another man reads the silence and makes the move. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you learn to read the silence, you stop reacting to words and start responding to truth. And that shift is what separates the men who understand women from the men who are perpetually confused. Here's the darker truth. A woman's desire does not live in her mouth. It lives in her body, in involuntary shifts, in unconscious adjustments, in movements she doesn't realize she's making. She isn't choosing these signals. Her biology is. Most men are blind to this. They mistake kindness for interest, friendliness for attraction, comfort for chemistry, and they end up confused, rejected, or quietly sidelined. Today, we strip away the politeness. We're going to examine 7 non-verbal signals that bypass her conscious mind and reveal what she cannot safely admit. Once you see them, you won't unsee them. Social spaces will change. Conversations will feel different. You'll recognize availability, resistance, and hidden pull instantly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you understand these signals, you gain power over your own mind because you stop misinterpreting her behavior. You stop projecting your own hopes onto her actions. You see what is actually happening, not what you wish was happening. And that clarity is power. But there is one signal, the 7th, that is dangerous because to the untrained man, it looks exactly like rejection. React incorrectly and you lose her. React with composure and the dynamic reverses completely. Let's begin. Signal 1, the collapse of space. Every human walks around with an invisible boundary. Psychologists call it personal space, roughly arm's length. It exists to protect the nervous system. When that boundary is crossed by a stranger, the body reacts with tension unless attraction is present. When a woman is interested, she doesn't guard space. She gives it up. She leans closer than necessary. She stands beside you, not across from you. She chooses the seat that reduces distance, not increases it. If there's a table, she angles around it. If there's a couch, she sits close enough that separation disappears. This isn't conscious. It's gravitational. Attraction pulls bodies together before minds agree. There's a simple test. While speaking, take a small step back. A woman who is neutral will stay put, relieved by the extra space. A woman who is drawn to you will step forward without thinking. She's equalizing pressure. Your absence creates discomfort. That movement is not politeness. It's instinct. Seneca wrote, "The mind is never right, but when it is at peace within itself." When you understand that her body's movement toward you is a sign of her mind seeking peace in your presence, you stop looking for words and start reading the truth of her body. Signal 2, nervous grooming. When attraction hits, the nervous system floods the body with energy. That energy has to go somewhere. So, the body starts adjusting itself. Hair is touched. Clothing is straightened. Jewelry is fidgeted with. Skin is smoothed. Most men dismiss this as habit. It isn't. It's preparation. Her subconscious has detected a high-value stimulus and is attempting optimization. What matters is where she touches. Neck, throat, collarbone, inner wrist. These are vulnerable zones, areas associated with trust and exposure. When she draws attention to them, she's not fixing anything. She's revealing. Do not comment. Do not interrupt. Let the silence sit. That quiet moment where she adjusts herself while knowing you're watching creates a pressure that words would ruin. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, "No great thing is created suddenly. Attraction is not created suddenly either. It is built in these quiet moments, in the space between words, in the silence where her body speaks and you listen. When you let that silence breathe, you demonstrate a level of self-control that is deeply attractive. Signal 3, the fractured gaze. Eye contact isn't binary. It has patterns. The social gaze stays high. Eyes to forehead. Safe, neutral. Desire pulls the eyes downward. Eyes, mouth, back to eyes. That triangular movement is not accidental. It's imaginative. She's visualizing closeness. But there's a stronger version. She looks at you. You meet her gaze, and she immediately looks down. Not sideways, down. That downward break is submission. The nervous system overloads and retreats. She feels seen. If you panic and look away, the moment dies. If you hold eye contact for one extra beat, something happens inside her. A flicker of embarrassment, then curiosity, then tension. She now knows you noticed, and she cares that you did. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When you hold her gaze, you dye her soul with the color of your presence. She cannot forget that moment because her body registered it before her mind could process it. And that registration is what creates lasting attraction. Signal 4, the controlled challenge. This is where most men fail. When attraction rises, she may become difficult. She questions you, teases you, pushes back playfully. Weak men interpret this as rejection. They defend, explain, seek approval. They lose. She isn't attacking you. She's stress-testing your emotional stability. If a simple challenge unsettles you, you are not safe to surrender to. She wants resistance, not anger, amusement. If she teases, respond lightly. If she challenges, stay grounded. Do not argue to win. Do not explain to be liked. Hold your position calmly. When she realizes she cannot shake you, respect forms and attraction follows respect. Seneca wrote, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." When you are convinced that her challenge is an attack, you become unhappy and reactive. But when you are convinced that her challenge is a test, you become calm and grounded. And that groundedness is what makes her feel safe. Signal 5, exclusionary focus. Watch her in groups. This is where honesty lives. If her feet point toward you while others speak, that's orientation. If she filters noise to hear your voice, that's prioritization. But the strongest sign, she turns her back to the group to face you. That's a social risk. She's closing the world out to open a private channel. Phones disappear, time compresses, awareness narrows. If she ignores her screen for extended time, you have her attention fully. Attention is the most expensive currency there is. She's spending it on you. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When she gives you her full attention, how you react matters. If you panic, if you overtalk, if you fill the silence with nervous chatter, you lose it. But if you remain calm, grounded, and present, you demonstrate that you are worthy of her attention. And that worthiness is what makes her invest more. Signal 6, lingering contact. There are two types of touch, functional and intentional. Functional touch is quick and firm, friendly, neutral. Intentional touch lingers, uses soft surfaces, avoids recoil. She brushes your sleeve and doesn't pull back. Knees touch under a table and stay there. Hands meet and remain. The lack of withdrawal is the message. She's testing temperature. She initiates the first rung and waits. Escalation is collaborative. She opens the door just enough for you to step through. If you don't, the window closes. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." When she touches you, she is not asking you to argue about whether she likes you. She is showing you. Be the man who reads that showing and responds with calm confidence. That is what she is looking for. Signal 7, passive availability. This is the dangerous one, the one men misread. She appears near you repeatedly. Same bar, same hallway, same exit timing, but she doesn't approach. She looks busy, distracted, neutral. This isn't indifference, it's positioning. She's placing herself in your orbit without initiating. Why? Because initiation reverses polarity. She wants to be chosen, not to choose. She's making proximity easy and confidence difficult. If you wait for verbal invitation, nothing happens. If you calmly bridge the gap, the dynamic locks in. Presence is the invitation. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future." When you see her passive availability, you are not anxious about what it means. You are present. You are grounded. And from that groundedness, you calmly bridge the gap. That calmness is what makes her feel safe. What to do when you see these signals? Do not speed up. Do not talk more. Do not reward immediately. Slow down. If she leans in, lean back slightly. If she fidgets, stay still. If she breaks eye contact, hold yours. Let tension build. Desire doesn't grow from gratification. It grows from containment. You become dangerous not by chasing, but by holding space. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, "No great thing is created suddenly. Attraction is not created suddenly either. It is built in these moments of tension, in the space between her signal and your response. When you hold that tension without rushing to release it, you become a man of substance, and substance is what she craves." The final truth. Attraction isn't polite. It isn't logical, and it isn't verbal. It's physical, psychological, and deeply unconscious. Women don't want explanations. They want certainty. Not loud certainty, quiet certainty. The man who sees without asking, moves without apologizing, acts without panic. You now have the lens. Use it with restraint, because the loudest signals of desire never make a sound. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you realize that these signals are outside your control, you stop trying to control them. You stop trying to force attraction. You simply observe, respond, and remain grounded. And that groundedness is what makes you irresistible. If this shifted how you see interactions, you're already ahead. Subscribe not because I asked, but because you recognize that this knowledge isn't common and what comes next goes deeper. Leave a comment with this phrase, "I see the silence." I'll see you where the noise stops. Because the path of the Stoic man is not about dominating others. It is about mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, you become a man of presence, a man of depth, a man who naturally commands respect and attraction without having to chase it. So take these principles and apply them, not as techniques, but as a way of being. Become the man who sees the silence, who reads the body, who understands that desire lives not in words but in the space between them. And watch as women begin to gravitate toward you, drawn by something they can't quite name but can't quite resist. Because that something is the real you, the man who has done the work, the man who is not trying to impress, but simply being. And that is the most attractive thing in the world.